Indigenous rights and environmental conservation are two of the most important issues of our time. Both of these topics are closely connected, as indigenous communities have traditionally held a deep relationship with their environment. And as their rights are increasingly being challenged, the environment is being put at risk. This article will explore both of these topics in detail and explain how they are connected. Indigenous rights are the rights of indigenous people around the world to maintain their cultural and traditional practices and to enjoy the same rights and privileges as all other citizens. Indigenous rights include the right to maintain their cultural identity, the right to self-determination, the right to land and resources, the right to participate in decision-making, and the right to maintain spiritual and cultural practices. Indigenous rights have been largely ignored and violated for centuries. This has had a devastating effect on indigenous communities, leading to displacement, poverty, and violence. In recent years, governments and organizations around the world have begun to recognize indigenous rights and are working towards protecting them. This includes the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, which seeks to protect the rights of indigenous people around the world. Environmental conservation is the protection of ecosystems and natural resources. This includes preserving forests, rivers, oceans, and other areas of natural beauty. Environmental conservation is important for both human and environmental health, providing clean air, water, and food. It also helps to preserve biodiversity, which is essential for the functioning of ecosystems. Environmental conservation is closely connected to indigenous rights, as indigenous communities have traditionally held a deep relationship with their environment. In many cases, indigenous communities rely on their environment for their livelihoods. Therefore, it is essential that their rights to land and resources are respected, and that their traditional practices are protected. In recent years, organizations and governments have begun to recognize the importance of indigenous rights and environmental conservation, and are working towards protecting them. This includes initiatives such as the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples and the Paris Agreement on Climate Change. In conclusion, indigenous rights and environmental conservation are two of the most important issues of our time. These issues are closely connected, and it is essential that governments and organizations work together to ensure that both indigenous rights and the environment are protected. This will help to ensure that future generations can continue to enjoy the benefits of a healthy environment and a strong indigenous culture.